how to print your own money legally and use it to buy real estate. And before I get into this, I want to explain this does not work for those of you that have less than $500 a month or say $6,000 a year to do this. If you're completely broke and not financially stable, you can't do this. But you also do not need to be a millionaire. There's what's called an institutional grade dividend-paying high early cash value whole life policy. I know it's this long acronym, but in layman's terms, it's what the banks buy in terms of life insurance. Individuals are seldomly sold it and financial advisors don't know about it. These type of policies typically grow at a guaranteed return of 4% and a dividend of around 6%. So you make 10% on your money. Now, you can go get a line of credit against it completely collateralized by the cash value. So for example, if you have $10,000 that you have stacked up into the cash value of a life policy, you can get a line of credit 95 to 100% of that cash value, thus having a $9,000 to $10,000 line of credit. So I get that line of credit, my policy's growing at 10%, my line of credit is a 4 to a 5% interest rate, and then I go invest in passive assets like oil and real estate. The next step is to look for passive real estate funds because you don't want to be a landlord and make a full-time job out of it. You look at passive investment funds, real estate funds you can go into, like multifamily projects and things like that in high rent growth areas and areas that are conservative and have landlord-friendly laws, like Kansas City, for example, is a great example. And you invest in funds that pay you 20% in annual cash flow, give or take. So you're making 10 in your policy, you're making 20 on the investment that you're buying cash flow in, you're making 30% minus the 5% interest you have in your line of credit, and you're netting 25% annually. You use that to pay the line of credit back, so you have no money in the deal, then you repeat the process. That is how you become your own bank.